After my last video, which was all about wicked estrogen and other menopause myths, I got a dozen, more than that, of heartfelt comments from women who were trying hormone replacement therapy, but still just not feeling like themselves yet. Here are just a few of those examples. One woman says, "Nothing has worked for me so far. I've been on BHRT, estradiol patches, 100 milligram progesterone, and various other doses. I still have fatigue, brain fog, insomnia. I'm considering just giving up on it. Maybe I'm just one of the unlucky ones for whom BHRT just doesn't work." Another woman says, "I tried estrogen 1 milligram and half a milligram. Still have bleeding. I'm very disappointed as I felt so many positive effects when I was on estrogen." Another woman says, "I experienced bleeding off and on for about a year on bioidentical hormones. An ultrasound showed that I had a uterus thickening at about 7.8 millimeters. What do I do next? My doctor said it's up to me to decide if I should continue on hormone replacement." One says, "I'm 50. I keep gaining so much weight. I'm not on estradiol, just take 200 milligrams of prometrium vaginally." Well, these comments emphasize the reality that hormone replacement therapy by itself often isn't enough in menopause. These women started taking hormones, but they haven't found all the relief that they'd really hoped for. This video is about what your doctor might be missing and what it really takes to feel like yourself again. Most doctors treat menopause by prescribing an estrogen patch, maybe adding some progesterone capsules. Same dose for every woman, maybe a little bit of change. Same advice for every symptom. These doctors may or may not do any testing of your hormones either before or after you start taking them. That's often what hormone replacement therapy is all about. But hormone replacement therapy isn't really the same as hormone optimization. Hormone optimization means dialing in the right dose for your body and making sure those hormones are actually doing what they're supposed to do. I'm talking about both in your symptoms and in your labs. I'm going to talk a lot about biomarkers. By the way, in my masterclass, the Menopause Solution, I walk through exactly what optimal hormones, optimal biomarkers look like, and how those biomarkers interact with each other. If you want a deeper understanding of what's going on inside your body, head to simplehormones.com/optimal to learn more about the course. Well, I'm all for symptom relief. Hot flashes, insomnia, brain fog, vaginal dryness, painful intimacy, depression, anxiety, mood swings, irritability, weight gain. Those are very real symptoms. And I've heard so many people say they make your life miserable. But the bigger goal is long-term health. We're talking about stronger bones and avoiding osteoporosis, better brain function, avoiding memory care. We're talking about a lower risk for heart disease and avoiding heart attacks, better insulin sensitivity and avoiding type 2 diabetes. We're talking about less visceral fat, the kind that's around your organs, and it leads to insulin resistance and heart disease. You simply can't get those kinds of results with a one-size-fits-all estrogen patch. Hormone optimization is what helps you feel better with less symptoms, but it also helps you get healthier from the inside out. So let's talk about one of the biggest sources of confusion, even for doctors, how symptoms and biomarkers relate. Not all symptoms are clearly linked to your lab results. And some of your most important biomarkers or lab results don't necessarily have any symptoms at all. So we'll kind of break it down into 3 simple categories. First, there are symptoms that strongly correlate with your biomarkers. Some symptoms track really well with, let's say, hormone levels. When you change that biomarker, you often see the symptom improve. So low estradiol is an example. It's linked to hot flashes and mood swings and poor sleep and sometimes weight gain. If you're taking estradiol and you're still having those symptoms, there's a good chance that your estradiol levels are probably still a little bit low. And raising the dose of estradiol typically helps relieve that. Low testosterone is another one. It's associated with low libido and weak muscle tone. In both men and women, increasing testosterone often improves your strength and increases exercise motivation, especially when it's paired with regular exercise. Increasing testosterone also helps improve sexual desire in both men and women. Testosterone isn't the only factor, but it is an important one in sexual desire. Second, there are biomarkers that don't always match your symptoms. Estradiol and vaginal bleeding is one of those. It's commonly assumed that high estradiol levels and high estradiol doses cause vaginal bleeding. But a recent study by Dr. Louise Newson found little correlation between estradiol levels and vaginal bleeding. What does help reduce bleeding? Well, progesterone does, but progesterone is notoriously difficult to measure in blood tests. There may be some other ways to test it. This is where careful interpretation matters. We're not just looking at the lab numbers, but we're understanding how those numbers fit with your overall symptom picture. Our third category is biomarkers that indicate serious risk, but they have absolutely no symptoms. Some of the most dangerous health issues show up in your labs before you feel anything wrong. Here's an example. C-telopeptide measures how fast your bones are breaking down. Higher levels mean more bone loss and a higher risk for fractures. But you're not going to feel a thing until a bone breaks. Hemoglobin A1C reflects your average blood sugar over the past 3 months or so. A high A1C signals insulin resistance, an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. But most people with elevated A1C feel totally fine. Fasting insulin levels tell us how hard your body is working to manage blood sugar. As insulin resistance increases, your pancreas pumps out more insulin. That drives weight gain and stubborn belly fat and a risk for diabetes. Again, often or almost always with no obvious symptoms. C-reactive protein, or CRP, measures inflammation throughout your body. Inflammation is behind almost every chronic condition we fear, but you won't necessarily feel that inflammation. Apolipoprotein B and lipoprotein a are two of the strongest predictors of heart disease. No symptoms at all. No warnings at all. High blood pressure is so notorious for being symptom-free, it's often called a silent killer. And speaking of killers, here's one of the most sobering examples. For about 1 out of 4 people, the first sign of heart disease is sudden cardiac death. That means the first time they realize something's wrong, it's too late. This is especially true for men over age 35. Most of these heart attack deaths are caused by blocked arteries, even if the person never had chest pain or any other warning signs. That's why I say, just because you feel okay doesn't mean you are okay. Biomarkers help us spot problems before they become emergencies, long before people have symptoms. We don't optimize biomarkers, though, to obsess just over the numbers. We optimize those biomarkers because they give us a clear window into what your future health looks like. A trained hormone optimization specialist knows how to test the right biomarkers and interpret those biomarkers in the right context. They know how to adjust your hormone doses based on your symptoms and your biomarkers. We'll talk more about how to find that kind of support in the next video. Here's what I hope you take away from this one. Hormone replacement therapy is a good start, but it's not the full picture. Hormone optimization is all about relieving your symptoms and improving what's going on inside your body. When your biomarkers are headed in the right direction, you will feel better, your symptoms will be better, you'll sleep better, your energy returns, you probably will lose weight, your brain fog will clear up. If you want to take the next step, check out my class, The Menopause Solution, at simplehormones.com/optimal. I go a lot deeper on how to get your hormones and your biomarkers working together. And if you're curious about working with a hormone optimization specialist, what that actually looks like, my next video explains why menopause isn't always a DIY project and how to find somebody you can trust to guide you through that. I'll see you in the next one.